Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at the Vortex Core 40% mechanical keyboard. For those of you who don't know, a mechanical keyboard is a little different than the keyboards you typically use at work or home or whatever you guys have. They use mechanical switches, and this particular one has a very unique layout, allowing it to be much smaller than your average size keyboard. It has about 40% of the keys, and it's a nice compact carry, well-built keyboard. So let's go ahead and jump right into the specs. So first up, the overall length of the keyboard is going to be 9.75 inches, which is not very long at all. Like I said, it's very compact. So the width is going to be 3 inches. I can't state enough how small this keyboard is. And the thickness with the keycaps is going to be about 1 inch. So it seems a little tall when you're typing on it in comparison to how long and wide it is. Let's go and jump into some quick size comparisons here. So I'll go ahead and bring out the Gherkin 30% keyboard. You guys might have seen this in one of my previous videos. It's significantly smaller. That one only has 30 keys, just an alpha keys and 4 modifiers. So this one's a little bit bigger. But let's go ahead and bring out something a bit closer. This is just a compact, like membrane style keyboard that my wife uses, and you can see even in comparison to that, which has a very strange, bizarre layout, this is much smaller. It's thicker, it's significantly heavier. This thing weighs almost a pound, but it's a whole lot smaller. It's very good for carrying around with you. I carry it back and forth to work. And it's really well built. But we'll get into all that in just a moment. I just wanted to show you guys some relevantly sized things. So let's go ahead and jump into the stuff that I like about this keyboard. First up is going to be the build quality. The case is made out of milled aluminum. The keycaps, default, these are not the default ones, but the default keycaps are PBT double shot, I believe. They're great. They're just wonderful, wonderful keycaps. Everything about the keyboard feels very, very premium. And for the price, which is about $120, depending on what switch you get, it's a fantastic, fantastic keyboard. And the price is good as well. I think you can actually get them a little under 100 at the moment. So if you're looking for a mechanical keyboard, this is one of the few 40% that you can easily get. And I think this is the only one produced by a major company. Next thing is going to be the size. Super tiny. Super, super, super tiny. Again, I carry this back and forth to work every day just because of how compact it is. I have a small sleeve for it. And it's not that bad. It's not too heavy, but I don't feel like it's going to break traveling back and forth. And I haven't had any issues with it. Been carrying it for about 6 months now. So I can't say enough good things about it. Next thing is going to be the hardware programming. Instead of using software, this actually programs on the hardware layer of the keys, which means I can program it here at my home computer, take it to work, and the layout of the program will be the exact same. So I'm typing on it. I don't run into any strange issues where I have to reprogram it back and forth or have software on both computers. So that's super duper helpful. Next thing is actually going to be the switches. These are Cherry MX Browns. So they're kind of semi-clicky. They're pretty good. I kind of wish I'd gotten blues, but they're fantastic cherry switches. And I'll go ahead and try to give you guys a close-up here. So those of you who don't really know can see kind of what they look like. So there you go. You just press that in, and it's a nice clicky feedback. It's not too loud, though. Perfectly usable at work. Next thing is going to be the layout. These keycaps aren't really helping show that, but it has a very strange layout. If you guys want to pull a picture of it online, just type in Vortex Core mechanical keyboard or whatever, and it'll show you. But the keys do have assisted legends, things like that. Next up is going to be the removable USB cable. This is fairly common in mechanical keyboards, but those of you who aren't used to it or are using cheaper mechanical keyboards, this is a great upgrade. You don't have to worry about your cable breaking or snapping, because if it does, you just get a new one. And if the port messes up for whatever reason, generally you can just resolder one on if you know how to do that. So it's extremely helpful. to just be able to insert and remove a cable whenever you need. Like, since I carry this back and forth, I just keep one sitting there at my desk at home and work. And even though I've started using my Gherkin keyboard a little bit more at home, I still like to keep the cable for this one as well, since they both use the same type of connector, which we'll get to a little later in the list. Next thing is going to be the support and the firmware. They put out firmware updates fairly regularly for this keyboard. It is a somewhat new product. I believe it came out just a little, like a year-ish ago. But the fact that they're still putting out updates and things is very helpful. They've even changed the top layer. Like they used to have a caps lock key for God knows whatever reason, and they put a tab key instead, which is a bit more normal. Next up is the keycap quality of the default keycaps. I went over this a little bit in the build quality, but these are just fantastic keycaps. They have nice texturing. Again, they're PBT. The printing on them is fantastic, and they're great. They're probably the best default keycaps I've ever used on a keyboard. I actually moved them over to my Gherkin now that I got these the DSA Otaku set. So you can see I have those, and I got more of the Otakus just because I'm too cheap to buy a whole other key set for this keyboard. But they're great keycaps. Unless you just like the aesthetics of a different set, which if you're a mechanical keyboard you probably do, I wouldn't worry too much about switching them out. So it's a really well built keyboard, great materials, great support, and really enjoyable to use. Let's go ahead and jump into the neutral list here. So first up is going to be that you can't program the top layer. This is not very much of a problem. This keyboard comes in 4 layers. The top layer that I'm referencing is what is printed on the default keycaps. You can't change that in the regular layer. So if you wanted your second space bar there, the smaller one, to be a backspace, you can't do that on the top layer. You'll have to reprogram it. Next thing up is going to be the branding. This is a nice backplate, but the enjoy your feeling is a little weird. This is on all of Vortex's stuff as far as I can tell. I think it's just a bad translation, to be honest, but it's kind of funny. But it's just a small gripe I have. Next thing's going to be, there is a small learning curve to this keyboard. It's not too bad. I got into it after a couple of days. Some people are going to have a much harder time if you have to have a number row, which this doesn't have one on top. You have to kind of use a function key to access that. Or if you have to have a number pad or, whatever. This might not be for you. And that's really with any 40% keyboard. Let's go and jump into the thing. The only thing I dislike about this keyboard really is the connector. This uses a micro USB connector. I haven't had good experience with them. They're really fragile. I kind of wish they'd gone for a mini USB, which is more common in mechanical keyboards, or even a USB Type-C would have been fantastic, since this is a somewhat new product. Alright guys, just to kind of conclude, this is a wonderful, wonderful keyboard, especially for the price. If you're looking for a 40%, you don't want a DIY project kind of thing, go ahead and grab this. I can't recommend it enough. I love this keyboard. I've seriously considered buying another one just to have blue switches on it, because I still like these browns, but blues are a little bit more up my alley. But I hope to be putting out another couple keyboard reviews soon. Probably not too many. These are a little expensive. But thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep an eye out for some upcoming videos. Hopefully with some watches, some more knives, and of course more pens, which seem to be everybody's favorite kind of thing around here. But thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, have a good one. Bye.